ball's on the other side with Alex Mighton. He's approaching the 18, looking for friends to go to the party. Mighton, 1v2, leaves it for Andes. Andes to Tabiaca. Golazo! G-O-L-A-Z-O! Goal!
Welcome into the official SDFC podcast. I'm Kaila Burns-Hefner here with former MLS pros Sal Zizzo, Marvell Win. Welcome to episode 4 of the official SDFC podcast. If you can see them, we've actually got a new addition to our set here.
Yeah.
Some good branding. Shout out to our creative
Very
team, our
well
creative
branded.
director
Shout out to the
for
crew.
getting us all set up here. But how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I'm feeling good. How about
Yeah.
yourself?
I'm doing well. I mean, the game could have gone better, but personally, I'm doing well.
Yeah.
That's great. Marvell, you traveled in. You had a late
Yeah.
night traveling back in. How was your trip?
The trip was actually amazing. I actually coordinated with one of my friends, a surprise birthday party. Went to a little a golf simulator as well, so that was fun. And when I first got tickets to the game, I wanted to be high enough so I can look at the game, see the whole play go out. But as I was walking to my seat, I saw our flags go by, so I was drawn like a magnet. So I got to spend the entire game with our supporters, and they do not stop. I mean, Sal knows as a player, you hear your supporters chanting and cheering pretty much the whole game. But I mean, with the drum beats and the different chants that they have, it was absolutely nonstop. Sal even asked me earlier, what was the atmosphere like at Dick's Sporting Goods? And I could not tell you, I could not hear the whole other tens of thousands of fans. I was just with our squad the entire time, just hooting, hollering, and raving. And it takes some muscle memory. They have the flags waving the entire time. Their hands are going the entire time. They are chanting the entire time. And they did not stop even after the game. I mean, at halftime, that's when I took a break. I sat down, I was like, I need electrolytes, I need Gatorade, I need orange slices.
Curious. Okay, curious. So when you are just a casual fan and you want to maybe watch the game, or maybe you don't understand soccer all that much, is that the spot for you? Opposed to if you really want to sit down, watch the game, kind of analyze it, do you want to be in that type of atmosphere, or is it a little bit harder to watch from that perspective?
Great question. With the supporters is an amazing spot for your average fan to watch the game and enjoy. Maybe one of the worst places to watch is as an analyst. Because the whole time, if you're looking at my eyes watching a soccer game, you don't know if there's a difference between soccer and a tennis match. So that you see position of where the player is on the field, whether they're going to pass, shoot, or dribble. Then you're looking forward, looking back at them, looking forward, looking at the runs that the players are making. Are they going out wide to create space? Are they coming in close to bounce the ball off? Are they making runs in behind so you can clear it over? That whole back and forth you couldn't really do when you're jumping, hooting, and hollering the entire time.
And there's
one
flags
of those
going across your face.
Here's one of those. It's like, did we almost when we scored? You saw more cheers, and then when we had scored on, you almost couldn't tell because they kept going anyway. So, honestly, that's exactly what I was thinking at the time. I was out there hooting, hollering, supporting, but tough to do it as an analyst.
So we'll be leaning on Sal for the match recap analysis today.
I'm still tired. I'm still recovering. My back hurts. I'm getting old.
The fan support, though, was incredible to see. You see on our social channels, we posted a clip of pre-match before the players even arrived at the stadium. The fans were there showing their support. I think we had over 100 supporting members travel out to that match, and that's something that's also occurred at other matches as well. So being able to see, just the excitement and the support that is existing behind this team on the road, and being able to experience that moment in person is really cool to see in year one.
Salute to them.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's not easy spending your weekends traveling to SDFC games. So I know as a player, I always appreciated the support for the traveling fans. So that's pretty cool to see.
You've played in that stadium so many times. Is that something that you've experienced, widely in terms of like opposing fans? How did that view versus, what you've experienced there?
That's a great question as well. Certain fan bases have certain fans that travel well. Seattle's been one.
Yeah, Seattle, Portland.
Seattle, Portland, they tend to travel really well. This one, it's difficult. First time in the stadium, kind of supporting, the opposite side. And again, when I was there, I wore a hat to support, but I didn't want to wear the jersey to forget where I came from. I didn't want to completely disrespect in their own hood. I was there for 5 years.
Won a
MLS Cup with them. You know what I mean? But I could say that I couldn't hear the tens of thousands of other fans. I was just in there with that squad, and I would say I think they got a few claps and cheers from the opposite side for how hard they were going. I mean, even our security that was up top, that was up there, they were like, we really support you guys coming here, and you guys came in and you came hard. Like you came in and you represented, as well as also being at altitude. You wouldn't have known the difference. So it was actually pretty amazing. I mean, first time experience for me, great time experience for me.
Let's take it a little bit onto the field now. What did you guys see? What are some key takeaways from that match?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit sloppy. I mean, that's kind of the overall theme. I mean, but at the end of the day, look, it wasn't their best performance, but they stuck through it till the end, and they had a few chances tied up. If I could sum it up, though, like some things that they're probably not happy about, that is STFC. I just think they gave up too many chances, right? And then they talked about, imposing every game, wanting to look like themselves. They just felt a little bit off with their passing. And, it could have been a little bit of the altitude. I mean, I did notice some long balls skipping away, or some players, maybe misjudging some long balls, not sprinting as far as maybe they needed to go because they assumed they were getting there, but then it just kind of took off on them. I know that happened to me a few times as a player, but it just seemed off a little bit. Obviously, they still outpossessed. They still look like themselves, overall. But I just think that they're missing some of the details. It just didn't click entirely for them.
I kind of go back to what you were saying with the last podcast about how just because they're at altitude, the ball that's in the air is just going to go that much further than you're expecting. And it seemed like a lot of our passes were just that little bit off. With the way that we play and how precise we are with our passes, that little bit can make a big difference. And it was kind of on both sides, but I think for us mainly. And one thing that could be a little dangerous for us is when we do play out the back and, we want teams pressing us and we play through them. When we do successfully play through them, it kind of wears them down and they kind of become a little bit hesitant. But for us, they ended up winning it back a few times. So that actually gave them confidence. So they came to press us more and more. And then, they kind of just had kind of a more hard-nosed kind of, feel about them. And I think they outworked us. I mean, we did maintain possession, but I think the drive and the heart and the hits that they got on us, I think was a little bit much that we weren't used to.
Yeah, I mean, they had more big chances, I would say. But with that being said, also in the 27th minute, I thought we had our best, chance to score. I think Valakari just misplaced it. Good build up, long ball to Anders, who laid it off to him. But he puts that away. It's 1-0. It's a different game.
Sure.
They had some chance at the beginning. I think the pen, I don't know, in my opinion, was a little soft because you see moments like that happen all the time in games where a goalkeeper will come through and the pass was made to the player that the pass was supposed to go to, right? It wasn't like he was dribbling to then got taken down. It was kind of a pass and then follow through. If it's a field player, that gets called. But as a goalie, a guy diving for the ball, I don't know. I mean, is it a pen? Probably. But is it a pen if he doesn't call it? Probably not. No. And then, maybe he didn't go to replay, right? And people are like, well, at least go look at it. But when you go to replay in a scenario, it's going to be a pen 100% of the time because you can't really overturn something like that.
Sure.
I think that call had to have been made on the field, and he either didn't or didn't make the call. And in that scenario, he decided to do it. And so, gave up a pen, put him in a hole early, but still they fought back, scored. The real dagger was the second half when they gave up that goal right after scoring. I think, and then another goal shortly after that. It just put them a little bit too deep.
Positive takeaway, STFC has now had 11 different goal scorers. Tomas Anal in the 89th minute scored his first for San Diego FC. It was good to get to see him find the back of the net in this match. So I think that this is one of those games where, like Frank has said in some of our other episodes that we've had, it'll be a lot to take away and see how the team responds in the next match. And we'll get more into that in our match preview presented by Alaska Airlines. We'll also hear from sporting director Tyler Heaps. So much more left in the show.
Hey everybody, this is Darren Smith. I host a radio show called STFC Midweek Live. You can hear it Wednesday nights, 6 o'clock on San Diego Sports 760 and anytime on the iHeartRadio app. Join me, Adrian Garcia Marquez, Warren Barton, SDFC players and staff. It's the only hour on local radio dedicated 100% to San Diego Football Club and the beautiful game.
All right, welcome into the show, sporting director for San Diego FC, Tyler Heaps. We are so excited to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Excited to talk football.
All right.
Let's do it.
Awesome. So first of all, we just kind of want to take you back to the moment. So I know you've been through kind of a long journey of building this team and everything, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But take us back to the moment that you knew that you were going to be becoming the sporting director for San Diego FC. Paint the picture for us.
Oof. Let's see. I joined, what is it now? I joined in September 2023. I joined Right to Dream. So I obviously joined when Tom Vernon and Mads Davidson called me. That was this expectation that I would join the group level because of my knowledge and obviously my American background, and that I would help build San Diego, but I didn't really know what role. Why it was so attractive to me was there was an opportunity to work remote. So I got to go live with my now wife, and was also involved in a group of Right to Dream, which is obviously speaks for itself. It's an unbelievable organization. It's one of the probably few organizations in football that do things far beyond the pitch. And that's something that was really attractive to me. And then I just kind of got to work. It was many months of different planning and trips. I visited Copenhagen a lot. I was in Ghana. I went to Egypt. And then I came to San Diego quite often. And so it probably wasn't the plan right away that I was going to be in this role in particular. Thankfully, there's an ownership group and a leadership group that built a lot of trust in me. And sure enough, I think it was probably right before the Olympics where I kind of got the call from Lutfi, and Lutfi was like, hey, just a heads up, this is going to be, you're the one leading this project. And obviously it was a surreal moment. It's one that I've probably dreamt about a lot. I'd always had this vision that I wanted to be a GM or a sporting director. It's why I went into math at the time. And kind of even growing up, had always had this vision of leading an organization and a sporting organization, and couldn't have asked for a better organization to do it in.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit about that. You just mentioned like going into math and kind of building your career up until this point. Give us a little bit more of an insight, bringing it back to like the college days of what you did to prepare for having this moment.
I don't think there is any direct pathway. I think you look at the sporting directors around the world, some of them are former players, some of them have expertise in scouting and recruitment, some of them have expertise in coaching and have found their ways in these leadership roles. And so it is still a relatively new position. And so I kind of wanted to forge my own path. I always wanted to be a professional player, but I knew I probably didn't have the special physical qualities to be able to do that. And so I needed to very quickly pivot from that when I was in university, and was fortunate enough that I was in college when Moneyball came out, and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. I was in chemistry. My mom is a chemist, and so I'm like, oh, I want to be like my mom. Obviously, she's really successful, and I have a lot of respect for her and her work ethic. And I was in chemistry classes, and I'm like, I actually hate this, and started to really like numerical equations and Calc 3 and all this other stuff. And so, decided to go down that route, threw in computer science because of the way the world was trending, I think, in terms of coding, and tried to use every class that I was in to do a project that revolved around sports, and had a lot of success doing it, and then stayed involved in sports as much as I could. I coached. I was at the academy level. I was in college, and then was fortunate enough when a job at US Soccer opened to get my foot in the door and kind of backed myself. It wasn't the role probably in the first couple of weeks that I expected it to be, but I was fortunate enough to work with a lot of really good and smart people that gave me an opportunity to show what I had.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up Moneyball because literally before you came here, I was like, yeah, Moneyball is one of the only, maybe I said I read probably three books in my life. And Moneyball was one of them. Actually, I was rehabbing from a knee injury in Germany, and I just had it. I don't even know if you consider that I read it because it was all audio, but had it in my ear. But same thing. Yeah, love that. Probably not as good as you. Obviously, you're into like calc and stuff like that. I'm not there, in the math level, but go down that. So like nowadays, how much is being a sporting director? Are you the youngest in
think
MLS?
so.
Okay, so how much of it is data driven? Some of these decisions that you're making.
I like to look at it as risk management. I think Moneyball paints a picture that some organizations go down in other sports, but baseball is binary.
Yeah.
Everything is ball or strike, in play or out of play.
You don't have to watch a single baseball game and you could build a team.
Exactly. And I think it's when, I'm not going to say overboard, but I know there are some extremes now in baseball. You can't necessarily do that the same in soccer. And so I was one of probably the first people to really get into it. I remember reading some of the early blogs in terms of people and what they were trying to do. And so when I got to US Soccer, I had all these ideas in my mind, But what you find out really quickly is you're dealing with 11 at the same time on the field, complex human beings, or it's actually 22 of them.
Yeah.
And so everything that I look at is in terms of risk management. So again, my background's also in finance. My first role was in finance. And so I kind of have this idea in my back of my head of like, how do we try to give ourselves the best chances of making less mistakes?
Yeah.
So that starts in recruitment in terms of how you're signing players. You're trying to sign players, in our case in particular, that are aligned to your vision and your philosophy and what you want those players to be able to do. You're trying to identify players quicker than everybody else. So that's where the efficiency piece comes in. Data, I think, in the world of sports is about efficiency and about quickness and how you can put some of those things together to make sure that your staff members are aligned and able to find things as quickly as possible. And then it's about tracking and making sure you're doing what you're saying you're doing. I think data is just another employee, is the way I look at it from a style of play standpoint, is that we have really smart, intelligent coaches that obviously have their ideas and their opinions. Data's another person, and they can challenge some opinions at times. If you say, hey, we're really struggling in this area, we're struggling to defend from transition moments, right? Data can help reiterate that. And it can also help say where that's happening. Is it happening on the left side of the field, the right side of the field? Is it happening off of long possessions that we're sustaining? Or is it happening off of obviously quick transition moments to transition moments? And so, yeah, it's about setting up those algorithms and the models to just be another employee and be another set of eyes. And it can do it at scale that employees can't do because of how much data now is available in the world.
Yeah. With AI too, it's breaking it down super quick. So that's cool.
Yeah, I figured a couple of things. You kind of just fit what San Diego's about. In my mind, it's kind of new, young, and different. So when it comes to concepts about how to play on the field, it's kind of different than what we're used to seeing on the field. In terms of new, it's kind of brand new with players, staff, and it's young in terms of the individuals that are out here on the field and all that stuff. So including that and you being told that you're going to be out here and you're going to help build San Diego, at what point when they were, trying to get you along, were they saying you have the ability to do things a certain way using your background? Is it more so successes in Monaco and things, or with your own analytics? And they're like, you know what, go for it. And it sounds like you just had all the support in the world.
Yeah, I think what you explained there about me being a fit for San Diego, that also means I was a fit for Right to Dream, because I think it has a lot of those same qualities. And so in my early conversations, I knew it was going to be a fit pretty quickly. I was always been told like this, don't pick the project, pick the people. And I think Right to Dream is perfect for that. I had opportunities to be a sporting director probably even earlier than this one. But I always had this inclination in my head of like, if it's not the right project, don't go and do it, for example. I'm very fortunate that obviously I have a very supportive wife that I don't necessarily I didn't need to go jump into a project. And I also want to support her in her career because she's at the pinnacle of it. And she also doesn't have probably the length that I do to work. And so that was actually part of my reasoning in terms of not taking other roles as well. Like I had a chance to move to the north of England. And when I had sat down and talked to her, she's like, look, I can't see myself ever moving there. So when you get a 4-year contract in front of you, you're like, do I really take this? Is this really the right move for me? And so I had kind of a lot of those back and forth moments. And so this was kind of the best of everything, I think. It was an opportunity where I could obviously go and initially work from wherever, but then as I got involved in the project and as I started to talk to ownership more and more, I think it was just a matter of trust. I think it was a perfect fit. We shared similar ideas. We have a very similar philosophy in terms of how we see football, in terms of how dedicated we are to player development and giving people opportunities. And so, yeah, I think as those conversations continued to happen, and I was fortunate enough where this project wasn't built yet, so I had this time to really develop the trust, and from there, the rest has been history so far.
Yeah, it's a close call. North of England and San Diego are basically
Yeah, I think
very wise weather.
Like San Diego.
Well, when I got to Monaco, I'm like, well, I got to choose the next place that's better than this. So there weren't a few. There were only a few options that were going to get there.
True.
America's finest city works.
Exactly.
When you got here, you also had to make a pretty big decision in choosing the next head coach. And you talked about, just those conversations and finding the right project. What did that look like on the flip side? And you finding someone that's at a key, a point to making sure that this project is successful in year one?
Yeah, it wasn't an easy decision, to be honest, because we had tons of interest. I think I probably talked to 35, 40 coaches. We also had, again, we were very fortunate. We had time, and a lot of times you make head coach decisions when you don't have a lot of time because of how quickly this sport turns from one page to the other. And so Look, Mikey was a standout in every phase. His name came about. I know a lot of people have said, "Oh, you worked with him before." I never worked with him at the Federation. Our times just missed each other. I left the Federation to go to Monaco, and I think at that exact same time, he was hired to become the U20 coach, or very shortly after. So it wasn't a name I was familiar with. Our process, we tried to open up to everything. So we used data to look at coaches that were already playing, because we were trying to find someone that fit the philosophy and the style of play. And then we used our network. Right to Dream used their network. I used mine. And so one of the individuals I talked with is somebody that runs the pro license at US Soccer. And I just kind of called him one day out of the blue. I remembered I was in Spain at the time, and I gave him a ring and I said, "Hey, I trying to exhaust this list of coaches that we're looking at. Who's somebody that's coming through that you think is could be perfect?" And he said, "Okay, well, tell me what you're looking for." And so I explained it, and he gave me 2 names, and one of them happened to be Mikey, and gave him an intro call. And then I called Greg and said, "Hey, I want to interview one of your assistant coaches." And I was fortunate enough that Greg and I had a really good relationship. And he said, "Look, I think very highly of Mikey. I think he'd be a good fit." And every conversation that I had with him, I got done and I was excited. And I talked to some really good coaches, and I didn't feel that way after every single conversation. And that could be a number of different factors. It could have been the staff they wanted to bring. It could have been the way they saw football. It could have been the way they saw themselves growing in this role. And so I know it was a big call and I know it was a big decision, but I hope that now after the first 8 games that people can see why he was such a good fit. I think him and I have a tremendous relationship that was built by our travel together. After we hired him, we got on a plane, we went to Ghana, we went to Egypt, and that really allowed us to create a really good relationship with each other. And now I think we can, without even speaking to each other, I know that we're aligned on a lot of the same things, but we also have really good debates. And I think that's why the relationship does work so well. And I think it's a key relationship to have if you want to have success in any organization.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so diving a little bit into now the Right to Dream way, which I think relies heavily on the academy. And that's something that hasn't really even began here. I mean, it's obviously in the early stages, but can you touch a little bit of, what this team is going to look like 3 years from now? Are there going to be homegrowns getting into the team? Is there going to be, primarily lots of young players that make a name here in San Diego and then maybe go beyond to play at the big clubs, wherever that may be?
Yeah, I look at it as a 5-year plan,
okay,
you could say, right?
Okay.
Year 1 and 3 is about setting the foundation. Okay. So we know that San Diego has high expectations for us, and our owners do, and everybody else that's involved in the project do. We went out and we hired a lot of really ambitious individuals, and that was for a reason. We know that we need to win. We know we need to fill the stadium, and there's so many other factors that go into it. So years 1 and 3 is about setting the foundations. I think we did that by going out and getting a lot of prime age players. And the results so far have been so good. Yeah. Obviously, there's no need to now set those expectations, but to continue to push them and to go forward. And when I look at year 4 and 5, I look at it as kind of that transition phase. And then I look at 5+ as San Diego 2.0, or however you want to call it. Because the academy is fully up and running by them. And we definitely will look different in year 5 than we look in year 1. I think we'll even look different in year 2 than we look in year 1, for example, because we have a luxury that we have academies that are already up and running. And so now it's about us trying to set up what that pathway looks like. How do we get those next West African players? How do we get those Scandinavian players to believe that this can be a pathway for them to reach their goals right now? And I don't blame them. Everybody wants to be Mohamed Kudus because they've seen it before, right? And they have those conversations. Everybody wants to be Simone Adingra. We want that first one to really believe in this project, believe in the people that are here, believe in the facilities that we have built, that want to come to San Diego, and we won't stand in their way whenever the time is right for them to move on. We've obviously preached that, and we want to be a club that doesn't stand in the way of those players whenever they have those big goals and aspirations. So I think you'll start to see that trickle in very, very quickly. And we've also been aggressive in our roster build already about acquiring young players from other clubs. Obviously, we did it with Anis Sadie, and he obviously made his debut here. And so he is a homegrown. He's not our homegrown, but I still think that you'll see more and more of those young players in years 2 and 3 start to fit in, because that's how you have sustained success in this league. You need to have that balance in terms of your DPs playing well, but you also need homegrowns that are eating up minutes. And we'll be aggressive in terms of how we try to acquire those players. And then I think you'll see it start to happen more and more as we get to kind of year 4 and 5.
And I like the whole concept about the right to dream being such almost a direct route into the professional ranks. we've been out there and we watch trainings on a lot of the Tuesdays, and you actually had really young guys from other countries come out and train with MLS pros. So the idea of just having academy players, not only thinking, I'm playing for the academy, I want to be there one day, but maybe just a couple of years from now, I'm going to be on the same pitch as them on the training ground. I mean, how influential, and how do you decide, or who gets to decide when these young players from other countries or academy players get to come up and just play with these pros for, a couple of days at a time when they're touring around or whatever, or wherever they may be? Yeah,
those are special moments. That's what this group and organization is all about. And I think that's what's going to differentiate us from a lot of others, is that we have this talent pool. And we're fortunate enough that they've went through many years of getting some things wrong, but also getting a lot of things right. And so I think that shows also the cross collaboration in our group. I think we have really good people that work at the group level in terms of our group technical director and our group head of football. That's constant conversations with them in terms of understanding what that pipeline looks like. When is the right time for them to be integrated in that, because that's also really key. And then just making sure that we have a platform where those kids feel safe, where they feel like they can go out there and express themselves, and it's not too much pressure or it's not too little pressure. And so getting all those balances right isn't ideal, and it's never going to be perfect, but I think having the right mindset and the right group of people that we do, and making sure that we're always collaborating with each other, and we understand we're doing what's best for the individual. Everybody's pathway is different. Everybody's development plan is different. So the more that we can over communicate to those individuals and they can understand why we're doing it, I think is the most important. And this organization, I think, does it better than anybody I've seen.
I'm not jealous at all, at all in any way.
Something that we spoke a while ago, and something that I resonated with me and it made sense was, like SDFC is a team that is going to grow from the youth and get better, and there are going to be players that they get in the prime. But are there ever going to be the players, like a signing like a Zlatan, or, obviously there was rumors about Kevin De Bruyne coming here. Does that fit the mold of the club, or is it more just, noise that happens pretty much?
Yeah, a lot of it's noise. There's a lot of noise. You don't realize how much noise there is until you're in the industry, I think, because, I've seen some stuff that I've never spoken to a player, to an individual, and all of a sudden, apparently, we've offered a contract to him.
So on the list.
Exactly. So there's definitely a lot of rumors that are involved, but I think if that was the case, it would have to be a player that was perfect. I'll never say never, because you should never do that in football, and obviously, and some of those decisions also are a collaboration with ownership, and if it makes sense for a bigger picture, then it makes sense for the bigger picture, but that's not our focus. And I think that is proven by how we went out and acquired the two DPs that we have already, right?
In their prime, right?
Exactly. And a player like Irving, who makes a lot of sense because of where we are in the world, and to your point, in the prime of his career, he's won championships everywhere he's went. Honors, again, within one of our primary markets, played in Denmark, understands kind of what we're trying to do. Had played against Nordsjælland a lot, but also we're able to support him. We have a lot of Danish people on staff. We obviously have Marcus and Jeppe and some of the others that were able to really make him feel at home, and it's probably a reason why he came and hit the ground running the way he did. I think you see too often in this league, players come and it takes a while to get used to it, because it is a difficult league, and one of the most challenging probably to come into because of the size of the country and everything that comes with it. And I always look at it again, it goes back to risk management. Transfers aren't just, are you signing a player that's good? There are so many other factors that go into it in terms of how they're able to come and settle, how they're able to fit within what you're trying to do, how they're able to integrate with their teammates. And so signing a good player is only half the battle, probably even less than half the battle. And so we really were cautious, and that's the way we'll approach every transfer. So yeah, I can guarantee you we won't sign Zlatan, but it is one where it would have to make perfect sense if it's a player of that type.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You just touched on it a little bit on the roster build, bringing in two DPs and everything, but you had to start this team from scratch in terms of building out to what it looks like now. Just walk us through that process over the last 6-7+ months.
It's daunting, that's for sure. We had 6 players for so long, and I just remember talking to Mr. Mansour and Mr. Mansour constantly, when are we getting more players? And it's difficult to tell him.
It's like, we're 3 months out, we have 6 players, what are we doing?
It's difficult to tell him to be patient, but at times, luckily Lutfi helped me in that. Is like, look, there are many ways to acquire players, and I think we tried to be clever in how we did it. But every decision that you make impacts another one. That's the glory of being in a salary cap league. But also, Yeah, there was never an easy day. I looked at a whiteboard a lot. I had used my imagination a lot in terms of what I thought could or couldn't happen. I could tell you the list that we had at the beginning looks completely different than the roster we have now. And that's just because of what was available in expansion, to what was available in free agency, to what we thought we could do versus not do, versus what was in budget and not in budget. There are so many different things
like, that I'm laughing because it's like going into like a fantasy football draft.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get this guy.
Exactly.
It's going to look like this. And then at the end you're like, what happened?
Exactly. And then you're pretty much,
exactly.
And you're pretty much at a point where you're like, okay, now let's see what happens.
Yeah.
But it was, look, it's something I probably never want to do again, but it was, I had a lot of learnings, different learnings than I do now, just because it's a different job 6 months ago, whenever you only have 6 players versus what it is now. But I just go back to my early conversations with guys like Patty McNair and Alex Maiton when you're trying to convince these guys to come to this project. I mean, I'm showing a deck that has renderings, and I think what I'm most proud of now is that stuff has come to life. Like I showed them video clips about what I thought the team was going to look like, and now I have those video clips that really show what we're trying to do, and that will hopefully make recruitment in the future a lot easier. But it wasn't easy. There were a lot of sleepless nights. There were a lot of difficult conversations. There were a lot of really disappointing days where you thought you were going to be able to get something done and weren't able to. But what I can say is that we've built a group of tremendous human beings and a team that is completely bought into what we're trying to do. And again, I talk most often, and it's not me, it's we, it's us who made these signings. None of these were my signings. I think they all went through a process. The process was thorough. It was related to our player profiles. It was related to what we thought we needed at the time. And I think we've done an okay job. But again, now it's about continuing to push the boundaries and figure out what we're going to do in the next couple of windows.
You've mentioned this like a couple of times, but I think one thing that we've really appreciated on the podcast, last episode we had Yeppe on here, just talking about just what the team has done to be able to come together as a group, all coming from such different backgrounds. How much does it mean to you to be able to see a team that not even halfway through preseason, they were calling each other family, and now they're acting the way that they do?
It's incredible. Like those are the moments that really hit you is we were strangers. And that's not even the players. It's also the staff. I think we have a staff that are really integrated in terms of what we're trying to do. I think a lot of that credit goes to Mikey and obviously how him and I sat down and envisioned this thing working and making sure, and he's coached a lot of players, and I've obviously been fortunate enough to be integrated in the camps with a lot of players. And so we made some difficult decisions based on people, what we thought were their character, would they be a fit or not. And a lot of those are very conscious. And those are probably the most proudest things, is just coming to work every day is enjoyable. And it's not the case like that in every single organization. You know, that having been a part of teams is that it's really important to get that right, especially in year one. And now, again, we just need to keep pushing the boundaries and making sure that we don't settle on that and keep trying to push things forward.
Yeah, it's incredible to have that in year one, especially, right? It takes teams several years to gain something like that. So to be 8 games in and be like, oh, our culture is just already so strong. It's wild.
An expansion said you already get together on something. I mean, even with the whole right to dream philosophy, it's almost a double-edged sword, because you know what you want, but then you have to find that specific little niche. Whereas you take a whole pool of players that could be difficult to look at, narrow it down. Hopefully someone's available. Hopefully someone's healthy. Hopefully someone's willing to come through.
Yeah.
So good on you.
Yeah.
Have you had a this is real moment yet? Or maybe I won't make you choose one, but a couple of moments where you're like, this has really all come together?
The official podcast.
Yeah.
This moment right
This
here.
is one of my first ever STFC podcast. And maybe the last. No, I'm kidding. I mean, definitely the first game, Galaxy, just like walking out of that tunnel, I was right behind Don Garber at the time, and I walked out and he just started getting cussed out by the fans because they had to blow up their roster. So that was a really interesting moment. And then it was funny because I went up into the suite and Lutfi grabbed me and he's like, hey, you're going to sit here. And Mr. Mansour went and sat on one side of me and Lutfi sat on the other side of me. And in the back of my head, I'm like, this better go well. Yeah. But that was like it's a cool moment because those are the guys that trusted me from the beginning. They didn't have to. And so the fact that I was able to sit between those guys and they were able to see what the product on the field looked like on game one, that was a really special moment, looking across and seeing the away fans. But I think it's been a little bit of everything. The first press conference, obviously being welcome to this community. I think they've embraced me ever since then. The home opener, obviously disappointing the way it went, but just the way the fans came out and everything that went with it. And so, there's been a few really good moments. There's also been a few grounding moments of understanding what this role and the responsibility is that comes with it. That's also been been some challenging moments, but again, I just bring it back to the group and the organization that we're with and the people that I get to do it with. It's a joy to come to work every single day, and I'm hoping that long continues and that we continue to make this club and this city proud.
We have, after that, we have some fun ones from the fans. They've
Sounds
good. Submitted some questions for you. So this is a perfect transition.
I didn't expect to see that, by the way. I checked my Instagram. I said I got tagged in something, and I'm like, what the heck is this?
We got some really supportive fans out here that have some questions for you. So we'll just roll through them. We've got Esteban asks, what are you doing on your day off? What do you enjoy doing in San Diego? And do you have a favorite restaurant in San Diego so far?
Oof. What I like doing on my day off, I'm an outdoors guy, so I like to cycle, I like to hike, and so I always try to find something I can go do outside. I like to go run through Balboa Park or just to stay active. I sit at my computer or I watch too much football too often, and so whenever I'm not doing it, I like to get out and try to be active, but then I also do watch a ton of football. I find myself on the couch a lot on Saturday mornings or Sunday mornings now, actually, which is the off day. Watching the early games. Lindsay and I like to watch them over FaceTime together just because then it feels like we're on a date. So that's good. And we're able to obviously continue our conversations together. But those are probably the main ones. Favorite restaurant. I'm going to say this because I'm a huge burger guy. So I consider myself a little bit of a burger connoisseur. So I always go try to find the best burger. I really like Balboa, the restaurant, the little dive bar there. That burger is very good. And North Park Brewery also has a very good burger. So those are my two so far that I've found. But I need to continue to get out. So if there's any recommendations, I'm always open.
Drop the Rex in the pod for Tyler. All right. We've got at Marco DLCD. Who are some of your favorite players of all time?
The player I grew up admiring was Clint Dempsey. He was, for me, he's the greatest American ever to play. I know that would be controversial to some, but just the way he challenged himself and the way he showed up every single day. And so he was my favorite player growing up. I'm a Tottenham fan, unfortunately, and so I have a soft spot as well for Harry Kane, just because of, again, how he does it, the way he does it differently than a lot of other strikers in the world. And then one of my other probably non-famous, or not, I shouldn't say non-famous, but I really like Moussa Dembele. Moussa Dembele, whenever he was the Belgian, obviously international, just the way he played, the way he could break a press by himself. And I should also then mention Lindsay Horan as well. She's one of my other favorite players. Yeah, the way she plays, the way she's able to dictate the game, and obviously finish as well. Her final product is also very, very special.
At T Daniel 12, most memorable moment with the U.S. Soccer Federation.
It's probably with the women's national team winning the 2019 World Cup.
How can it not be?
That was that was the special moment, to be honest, because so much went into that. It was a pretty surreal ride. I owe a lot to Jill, obviously, and her staff. They kind of gave me my first chance to travel with them and show what I was all about. And then I was just fortunate enough to be able to travel with the men. I think that year in 2019, I was on the road 290 days between the national teams. And so there were a lot of learning moments in that year, but I think I grew a lot as a person and obviously in my profession. But that moment, because you work so hard for a month straight and it's so much travel and it's such a burden, and just to see the smiles on people's faces, and that was a special moment. And to do it in France, where I ended up moving to, also was pretty cool to look back on. And so the fact that I then moved to Lyon and was able to live there after winning, being a part of that championship team was pretty special.
That's awesome. We've got another one from at TKSAKYI. What is the most that was really hard. Sorry. What is the most unexpected part of your job that fans wouldn't guess?
Oof. I mean, you're kind of a glorified babysitter, to be honest. And that's really what it is you're trying to oversee this environment. And so, hey, you don't think about it, but you're kind of a babysitter for the players. Some of the questions you get asked are pretty remarkable in terms of what they can and can't do. Or so that's probably been, again, what I spend a lot of my time on, but that is probably the most unique part of the job, is that you look at a sporting director and you say, oh, you pick the players, you get to do all this fun stuff, but there is a lot of not fun stuff. There's a lot of difficult conversations that's with players, with agents, etc. There's you have to deliver a lot of bad news. And so sometimes you need to kind of put your emotions aside and do what's best for the club and the organization. And that's also not the fun part, but it is a big part of the role.
And then this one is coming to us all the way from France at Lindsay Horan 10. Does most of your football knowledge come from your wife?
Oof, I don't know about most of it. I think a lot of hers comes from me. I think
We should pick up the FaceTime call.
yeah, exactly. There's a lot of balance for sure. It's why, again, it's probably not perfect for everybody, but it's remarkable how much we probably learn from each other because there's things that she comes home with and she wants my opinion on, and there's things that they do that I want her opinion on, or that I'm about to do and I want her opinion on. I think that's, again, something that there's never a conversation that goes by where I don't try to continue to educate myself, and I'd never try to approach anything like I'm the smartest person in the room, and that's to go with her as well. We have a lot of open arguments about what's right and what's wrong, and I think that's also why we love this sport, is that there's no perfect way to play it, and there's no blueprint of how to do it. But I think we challenge each other, but it's a good type of challenge, and we're also able to understand at the end of the day what this is all about, right? And what our relationship is. But probably one of the biggest compliments I've gotten was that she called me after one of the games and was like, I want to play for San Diego FC. So at least that means that she sees herself playing in our team, and that's a positive because she likes the way we're doing it.
Is it hard? Like, say you guys go out to dinner, right? Like, do you guys have to set aside and say, like, we are not going to talk about soccer tonight? Or are you guys just like, whatever, you guys both love it, you'll just talk about it?
Yeah, I think we have so much to talk about that sometimes it's nothing about soccer and sometimes it's everything about soccer. And we can talk about, we can talk about any game. I watch a lot of women's football as well because, again, she wants my opinion on how she thinks I should play or how she thinks she should play against this team or that team. And I tried to give that. And we always check and challenge ourselves, but we haven't gotten footballed out, and I think hopefully long may that continue.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate you joining the podcast.
Thank you guys for
Thank
having
you,
me
man.
on. Appreciate it.
Great talking to you.
Become a season ticket member with San Diego FC and never miss a moment with guaranteed access to all home matches. Membership starts at just $40 per match, and you get the best value with amazing benefits. Visit San Diego FC/memberships to learn more. Marv actually has season tickets, so that's something you can.
True. 2 of them. If anybody has somebody that just wants to go with me, let me know. Because my mom keeps bailing.
As the official specialty insurance partner of San Diego FC, Palomar offers standalone earthquake insurance that protects property and peace of mind. It's crucial to be prepared. Visit plmr.com or contact your insurance agent for a quote. Palomar, reimagining specialty insurance with innovative, creative solutions.
All right, let's look ahead to Charlotte this weekend. It's our match preview presented by Alaska Airlines. What are you guys looking forward to in this match?
Look, Charlotte was a team coming into this year that a lot of analysts, a lot of fans, a lot of people had high hopes for, and they're kind of living up to that hype, I think, in the beginning. Zaha obviously is hurt with his thumb. I don't know. I don't think he'll be back for this game, which, obviously helps SDFC. Their defense in Charlotte, that is, has been very good. I think they rely heavily on their defense, and they're also very good in transition. So, I mean, it kind of doesn't sound like a broken record necessarily, right? But a lot of these teams have a similar style of play, right? And whereas I think SDFC has more of an identity than a lot of teams. But that doesn't, ensure that they're just going to go in there, play their game, win the game, right? Charlotte, very good at home. Their only 2 losses have been on the road. So in some ways, honestly, like maybe their toughest game to date so far.
Yeah, Charlotte's off to their best start of their, season since they started in 2022. Undefeated at home, like you mentioned. Definitely will pose some challenges. Marvell, what are your thoughts on this match?
Just gonna echo what Sal said about this is gonna be our most challenging match yet, I believe. Not just because of where we're going, the environment we're playing in, and the way Charlotte's looking, but as Mike has been saying, as well as Frank, like we really want to focus on us. Mm-hmm. And last time we had a loss, we got to come home, and then we got to play then, and we redeemed ourselves. Now it's back-to-back away games from a tough loss going into a tough stadium against a tough team. They are stubborn on defense, and the way we've been playing in these last 2 games has been more direct. And, we're trying to find penetrating balls through, and tough defenses are hard to break down in that sense. But if we go back to the way we've been playing, where we just kind of build our way up, have players come in, penetrating runs in behind, and we kind of break them down that way, I think we'll find success. But the way our trend is going, and the way they were playing more direct, it might cause a little bit of a problem. But as Mikey keeps saying, every game is a learning experience. So maybe we've learned from these last couple of games, and maybe we're going to go back a little bit. Either way, who knows? I know I have faith that this team's going to be working hard on everything that Mikey has seen during the game, what we need to improve on, as well as whatever strengths we have. You want to improve those as well.
Yeah. I mean, just going off of that, I mean, every game now, right? It's not a surprise. SDFC is not a surprise to any teams now in the MLS. There's enough game film, there's enough games watched, all that to know what they're about. And so now teams are going to come in and feel like are going to be more prepared, or maybe have a game plan of this is how a team attacks SDFC and puts them on their heels, right? SDFC now having lost 2 road games, Austin and this last match against Colorado. So yeah, they're going to look at those films. They're going to see what those 2 teams did to break down. They're also going to look at the games that SDFC was, successful and try and figure out ways to combat that. And like we've always said, SDFC is going to play their style. They're going to figure out how to put the game on their terms. They're 100% going to outpossess Charlotte. I think that's without a doubt. It's just how good are they going to be in those transition moments? Because the last 2 road games, they've given up too many chances. That is SDFC. So they need to figure out that piece, because at home they do a great job, right? A lot of teams are good at home, but on the road, can they bring down those goals allowed? I think that's going to be key.
I think like Marvell mentioned, we got to see what happens when, San Diego had their first loss and then came and responded the way that they did with 2 very convincing wins at home. So now being able to take it back on the road again to see what that response will be, I think it'll be a really good indicator of, what this team is able to do.
Yeah, I think that's spot on.
Well, a team like us, I think, we can see character, we can see growth as the games go on. And I think this is another opportunity to see what SCFC is all about. Everything's, going great, the start of the season, and we're winning games, scoring goals, having a great defense and all that. But now is when we'll see how fast we can bounce back. And again, in a difficult place, but I'm excited to see what we do.
Well, if you can't make it to the match out, or if you're not traveling out to Charlotte, we have some great activations back here in San Diego. We have the official block party presented by Dios Azul will be going on at the Soap Factory in Logan Heights. That will be going on from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. It is an all-day event. There's going to be a youth 4v4 football tournament. There's going to be a live podcast. It's not our podcast, but we'll go support it. There's going to be EA Sports, DJ, food, drinks, pop-up galleries, retail, anything you can think of, watch party, as well as a post-match party with DJs and so much more. So if you don't, have an opportunity to go out and travel to this match and you're looking to spend some time with some fans, have some good energy. Like Marvell's always talked about how awesome these watch parties can be. Go and RSVP. We've got information out on our Instagram stories on our website. Go RSVP for that event. It'll be a really fun one to get to be a part of.
And you're going to Charlotte, correct?
I will be going to Charlotte, yes.
And you work there as well, right?
I worked in the city of Charlotte for 5 years, very closely with the team there, but not directly for them.
Okay.
So
a lot of homecoming.
A lot of homecomings, yes. We'll get to see some old friends there.
Because Marv didn't do it last time for us.
It would have fallen off.
I filmed the whole thing through my phone, but I can wear a GoPro too, and then you'll just see.
No, we need GoPros. We need some GoPros going on.
All right, we can make that happen. I'll report back on the next episode of the pod.
Yeah.
But again, thank you so much for listening to us. It has been a great episode getting to hear from Tyler Heaps, match previews, recaps. Love to hear from you guys as well. Thank you so much for submitting your questions. Please continue to do so. Like, subscribe, support, review, wherever you get your podcasts. We really appreciate the support.
Love you guys.